Well, Tara, I loved your book. It's an amazing story, and even though you'd had almost no formal schooling, you managed to get into BYU. You have to learn algebra. How did that come together?
I had no idea what an education was. I'd never set foot in a classroom before, but I really loved to sing. And I became obsessed with this idea of going to college so that I could learn how to sing. And algebra became a thing I had to do in order to do that other thing. And, for me, it took me to Brigham Young University, and then I discovered history there, and that took me to Cambridge, and then at Cambridge I discovered language, and then I wrote a book. And, it goes from one thing to the other.
And if you look at your family, you and your two brothers who chose to go out and go to college have done very, very well. And there definitely is a rural versus urban element in it. Three of you that got very educated and others that kept the same values. Do you see this polarization as a problem?
I do feel like this division is a problem, but I think probably you've hit on the most disturbing part of it, which is that the fault lines are increasingly along educational lines. So people with a degree think one thing and people without think another. And then there's quite a lot of hostility between the two groups. People who used to disagree about things suddenly now think the other side is somehow in bad faith, and they don't even recognize the other side as particularly human. And I find that really disturbing. I find it disturbing that education has become a part of it. We say that education is a universal right and everyone should have it, but in practice it isn't really. And certain people get access to a lot and other people don't get access to very much.
No, it's true.
I think education is really just a process of self-discovery, of developing a sense of yourself and what you think. But the more that we self-segregate and schools become reflections of people's homogeneity, then I think schools themselves become instruments of division. I think of education as a great mechanism of connecting and equalizing, and it can be a little bit frightening when it becomes an instrument of that division.
One unfortunate trend seems to be that the highly educated, politically thinking one set of thoughts and the rest of the country are thinking other thoughts, and they don't even communicate very well.
It's like two Americas, and people have no idea what the other side, how they live, what they think, what their lives are like. They're just completely divided. And so what I really want to do is tell stories. I kind of have to believe that if we had more ways that we could understand and communicate with each other, that I believe that would do a lot to help us communicate and work on what I think is the central problem with our democracy right now, which is that the two sides no longer feel like they're even part of the same country. I kind of want to make the Idahos and the Ohios and the Alabamas a little bit more accessible to the places like New York, to the places where that way of life is so foreign and almost unimaginable.
And the book's done fantastically. It's really resonated with people.
Yeah, no one's more surprised than me.